One thing I'd love to see more counties adopt is automatic property alerts, right? The moment somebody records anything against your property, you receive notification. Many counties already offer this, including Wayne County, for free. The unfortunate reality is most homeowners have no idea those services exist. Now, if you're viewing this and you live in Wayne County, I'm going to incorporate this link in the description below. And this is the Register of Deeds, and this is the Mortgage and Deed Fraud Unit. This is where you have an opportunity to set up a property alert over to the left here. You click on that link here, and this gives you an opportunity to set up a free property alert. Okay, so make sure you do your due diligence and you incorporate something such as this to give you the type of protection you need in order to make sure you don't run into a scenario where somebody is trying to steal your property from right underneath you. What's going on, folks? Eddy Carrington, mayor of Flux City. And today we're going to be unpacking a story right here in the city of Detroit where two women have been sentenced to federal prison after prosecutors say they sold around 100 properties worth $6.4 million using fraudulent deeds. Now, this isn't just another crime story. This is really a conversation about trust, because real estate only works if people can trust that ownership actually means something. Let's get into it.
Two Metro Detroit women will spend years in federal prison after being convicted of stealing properties from Detroiters facing potential tax foreclosure. So Zeno Thomas was a nonprofit housing director for the United Community Housing Coalition, and Jonte Jackson worked for Wayne County. Now, according to a document, prosecutors, both women stole around 100 properties in Detroit worth an estimated $6.4 million. So feds say the scam began in early 2023. The two women used fraudulent deeds to take control of the properties and then sold them. Thomas was sentenced to 7.5 years in prison. Jackson was sentenced to 5.5 years.
These individuals were put in a position of trust, right? And they were convicted of literally stealing hundreds of people's properties. And how do you justify that if you're in the role of a director at a nonprofit, right? And somebody comes to you and they say, hey, look, I need help with my property. I need help with my property taxes. I don't want to lose my property. And you, in turn, instead of helping the individual, you literally steal the property, the deed from them based off of the information that they provide. And you come up with a strategy and you implement this alleged scam. I guess we don't have to say alleged because they're convicted of it. That's just scary, right? How do you sleep at night going through a process with hundreds of individuals and scheming and thinking through ways that you can take this person's property from them and their family and enrich you and your pockets? That's just, I just don't know about that. That's, man. Now, most people who come across this story are going to focus on this $6.4 million valuation, which is definitely important to highlight. But when I come across these types of stories, especially this one, what I hear is 100 broken property rights. And that's much bigger than the actual dollar amount when it comes to the issue at hand, in my opinion. One of the first things economists teach about prosperous societies is that secure property rights are what allow economies to function. Why is that? Because people only buy and invest when they believe they'll actually own what they're buying and building. If ownership becomes questionable, investment disappears. Potential home buyers disappear, right? Think about it. Why would somebody spend $200,000, $300,000, $400,000 purchasing a property if somebody can simply forge paperwork and take it? Why would a bank lend millions of dollars to a developer redeveloping an apartment complex if title ownership becomes uncertain? If the legal system can't reliably protect ownership, this isn't just about crime. This is about economic confidence. As a developer, we spend months, sometimes years, confirming ownership before closing. Title companies, surveyors, attorneys, lenders, everyone is trying to answer one question: does the seller actually own this property? That's because ownership is the very first brick in the entire development process. Everything else depends on it.
We talked with the Wayne County Register of Deeds about this case.
They were stealing the homes of the least fortunate who couldn't afford them and went to this organization to help. and the individuals partnered together to steal the home to enrich their own pocketbooks.
All right, so you might be asking exactly what is deed fraud? So it is when somebody forges the rightful owner's name on records and then files those documents with the county. Scammers target properties that sometimes look abandoned and with disheveled lawns, mail piled up, or flyers on the porch, but they can really target any home, even yours. And the worst part, you may not even know that your home has been stolen until someone is knocking on your door to evict you.
So overgrown grass, mail piling up, right? These are signs that nobody is really watching this property. And so these scammers are focused on those types of opportunities, and that shouldn't surprise anybody. Vacancy creates opportunity. One thing a lot of people don't realize is that if you own a vacant properties are expensive, right? You still have to pay taxes, insurance, maintenance, security, board ups, grass cutting, snow removal, utility bills, right? Even when the building is sitting with nobody living in it, the expenses never stop. Detroit knows this better than almost any city in America, probably the world, right? We've spent decades trying to reduce vacancy. Just look at how many properties we knocked down over the last 10 years via the demolition push that was put in place, right? Vacancy doesn't just hurt one building or one house, it weakens an entire block. But a neglected property sends a signal. Nobody's watching, nobody cares. That's exactly the signal criminals look for.
It's not just people facing tax foreclosure that can become victims of deed fraud.
It's a growing crime wave, and it started here at Paris and has transferred across the country. And hopefully with our recent sentences, we're going to be getting the end of it.
Now, as you can see here, this is a national conversation, right? The Register of Deeds is saying that this type of crime is spreading. And I've actually covered scenarios such as what's happening here in New York, Chicago, right? And so this is picking up steam, right? I'm not surprised because fraud follows opportunity. Over the past several years, property values, specifically here in the city of Detroit, but countrywide, have risen dramatically, right? Vacant land is worth more. Neighborhoods are redeveloping. Institutional investors are buying. Individuals are investing. Whenever assets appreciate, criminals notice. Not to mention, technology has made document creation easier than ever, right? You can go on ChatGPT and make a fake signature, create a fake ID. You can create fake paperwork in a blink of an eye, right? And this documentation that you have the ability to create is increasingly convincing, right? That means governments, title companies, and county recorders will probably have to modernize how ownership verification works. The systems that worked decades ago may not be enough going forward. One thing I'd love to see more counties adopt is automatic property alerts, right? The moment somebody records anything against your property, you receive notification. Many counties already offer this, including Wayne County, for free. The unfortunate reality is most homeowners have no idea those services exist. Now, if you're viewing this and you live in Wayne County, I'm going to incorporate this link in the description below. And this is the Register of Deeds, and this is the Mortgage and Deed Fraud Unit. This is where you have an opportunity to set up a property alert over to the left here. You click on that link here, and this gives you an opportunity to set up a free property alert. Okay, so make sure you do your due diligence and you incorporate something such as this to give you the type of protection you need in order to make sure you don't run into a scenario where somebody is trying to steal your property from right underneath you. But it's interesting to see the numbers, right? Since 2005, the Wayne County Mortgage and Deed Fraud Unit has had over 13,000 inquiries, over 2,000 cases opened, over 1,100 search warrants, over 500 arrests, and 347 convictions. They've been able to return 393 homes based off of this site. This might have gone up since then, but man, that is extremely scary to see the fact that there are individuals that pry on Detroiters and individuals who live in Wayne County in general. And this has to be stopped. There has to be a different strategy put in place moving forward in order to protect these homeowners from this scary, scary idea of somebody actually figuring out a way to crack the system and steal your property from you.
So I want to take a look at this. This is the map Bernard keeps in his office. Each pin is a property that was stolen. Each color is a different scammer. Bernard says Wayne County sees around 120 cases a year, and they've returned around 500 homes to rightful owners. But the process is not cheap. In some cases, getting your home back can cost anywhere from $20,000 to $80,000 in attorney fees.
Now, $20,000 to $80,000 in attorney fees, that might be the most shocking statistic in the entire story. Not the prison sentences, not the number of homes, the legal fees, right? Imagine already being victimized and then needing $50,000 just to prove your own home belongs to you. That is devastating. People often assume, well, if somebody steals my house, the government will fix it. Unfortunately, real estate law doesn't usually work that way. Ownership disputes become civil matters, which means lawyers, court filings, title corrections, recorded documents, right? Months, sometimes years of litigation. This is another reason title insurance exists. People sometimes complain about paying for title insurance during closing. This feels like another unnecessary closing cost, right? Until something goes wrong, then suddenly it's one of the most valuable documents in the transaction. Most developers don't skip title work. I've seen some investors skip title work, right? Do a quick claim deed and give somebody cash for a property, and then they start doing some due diligence after they bought this quote unquote good deal of a home and find out that there are a number of liens on said property, right? But when it comes to real estate development, especially when you're folding in investors and banks into the mix, you can't skip your title work.
What can you do to protect your property? Well, first, check with your county's Register of Deeds. Many of them have alert programs that are free to sign up for, and then will alert you if there are any changes to your deed. We've got all that information on the investigators page at clickondetroit.com.
Man, just look at this map, man. This is extremely scary to just kind of take in and think about, right? These are hundreds and hundreds of homeowners who have had their property stolen, or somebody attempted to steal their property, and in one format or another, they hopefully caught them in time. But there are also hundreds of individuals who didn't have an opportunity to catch the scammer in the act. And now you're looking up and you're needing to lawyer up to hopefully get back ownership of your property. And man, this is unfortunate. This is really, like, these folks that are scamming these homeowners, why don't they figure out a different way to spend their time? This is just unfortunate. Here's what I think this story is really about. Not fraud, but trust. Every real estate transaction depends on trust. Buyers trust sellers, banks trust title companies, cities trust recorded documents, investors trust public records, developers trust that once they purchase land, it's actually theirs, right? Homeowners trust that once they buy the house that they love and fell in love with, it's actually theirs. The moment that trust starts breaking down, capital becomes more cautious. Insurance becomes more expensive. Legal reviews become longer. Development slows, right? Housing costs increase, not because lumber got more expensive, not because interest rates have changed, but because uncertainty carries a price. Now, for Detroit, this matters even more, right? Our city has fought incredibly hard to rebuild confidence over the past 15 years. We've seen neighborhoods come back, historic buildings restored, commercial corridors reactivated, new businesses opening, property values going up to record high levels, right? We can't allow fraudulent actors to undermine that progress. Thankfully, cases like this also demonstrate that law enforcement is taking deed fraud seriously. That accountability matters because protecting property owners is essential to protecting neighborhood investment. Owning real estate isn't just about buying property, it's about protecting it, protecting your title, your records, your taxes, your documentation, because the strongest neighborhoods aren't built only with bricks and concrete. They're built on confidence that ownership actually means ownership. But I'm curious to know what your thoughts are. Should title fraud carry an even harsher penalty given the financial and emotional damage it causes? Have you been a victim to title fraud, or do you know of anybody who has been a victim to title fraud? Would love to hear from you in the comment section below. Thanks for listening to me ramble. I do have a Patreon community, and it has more content that's a little bit more low level around real estate development, entrepreneurship. Would love to welcome you over there as well. But thanks for listening to me ramble. I'll see you in the next video.